Hi everyone, slightly different video from me today. So hello, it's Catherine here from Inky Fingered Cat. For Christmas in July for today, the theme was hang the stocking, something along those lines. Something to do with stockings. And for some reason, I just fancied doing one of these Kendra's card challenges. So I'm splitting this video into two parts. So this, for anybody who's interested, is how I do my sort of one sheet wonder, although this is 6 sheets of 6x6 into 15 cards. So this is my process for how I do it, and I'm going to talk you through it. It is sped up. It's been speeded up. I don't know about the language on that one. It's been speeded up 4 times. So this took me 57 minutes in total to do. I'd already grabbed out the papers beforehand, but yeah, this is me doing the cutting. So I will stop the video at the point that I have done the all of the cutting of both the pattern papers and the sort of mats and layers. And this is how I do it. And then I will do a second video which shows me making up however many cards I end up making up using the tidies and trimming stockings for today's stocking theme. But you can see here I have so far cut one piece of the paper. I'm following the guide. You can get the guide, it's free. Kendra does, it's Kendra's card challenges. I'll try and remember to put the link in the video for how to get it, but you go onto her Patreon, but it's free and you can download it, and then I usually just print it out. So I have cut pattern paper number 1, which is pattern paper A. You can see there the blue blob on the left hand side. And then what I do is I get a whole stack of envelopes and I just in pencil write 1 on the back of it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way through to 15, so that I can slide the pieces that are for that particular card into that particular envelope. And that's how I do it. It's how I keep organised, because I don't have the biggest craft space in the world, so I can't lay out 15 cards worth of stuff all over the place, otherwise I'd just lose bits and I wouldn't get it right. So this is how I do it. So Kendra's card challenges are always really well instructions in terms of the cutting. It tells you the sizes. It's all in inches, which I much prefer because it's just a bit easier to deal with. Weirdly, there's some things I cut in centimetres and some things I do in inches. But yeah, for this is what I do. And then as soon as I've done one piece of paper, I put them into the envelopes. And then I put them to one side, then I get the next piece of paper out, I get my next template out, and I start cutting it up. So you can see there's a little pair of scissors, and that shows you where to make your first cut. And from then on, it's fairly simple. I did go wrong on one of them, which was the second piece, and I cut one of the tiny pieces. I misread what it said because I wasn't concentrating enough, and I think I just cut it in half by accident. But I don't think it'll matter, as I've been assembling the little cards with their the card blank, not the card blanks, but the mounts and stuff like that I'm putting them with. It'll be fine. I'll just make that one up as I go along. This particular template has left me with a few little bits and pieces. I've just put them to one side, but they are literally a couple of tiny triangles and one little square, I think. I might make use of them. I'm just going to leave them on the side of the desk for the moment. You never know when they might get used. The one thing that I will say you have to be careful about is directional prints. This particular paper with the Christmas trees on is clearly directional. So there is one of the cards where I'm like, oh, it doesn't look quite right. I'm just going to flip it over and just use the reverse of it. Oh, this is one where I just missed a little instruction to cut off that tiny little tab. But yeah, so you just have to be a little bit mindful when you're doing it. And again, on her templates, it has got little arrows. I don't know that you can necessarily see those on this video, but each of the pieces, it tells you there's a little arrow that says this is the direction it's going to be in. And that just helps you decide whether to use the paper or not. So I purposefully chose a paper that had got the least amount where the direction wasn't, you know, just bog standard. And that's the one that I used for paper D, which is that Christmas tree paper. So we're getting there. What I don't tend to do is, can you see that paper 6 there, which we're about to start cutting into? There's some circles at the bottom, and that's where you're meant to go and die cut. I don't tend to do any die cutting because I don't always choose to do circles. And actually that one is the one that I have done the least with. I've just left it be as the, I think it spreads across 2 different cards, but the one where it's got 2 circles, it's got multiple circles on the actual template. I don't tend to do that one until the last, because I firstly don't always have the right templates and the right dies in the right sizes, and so I'll choose to sometimes choose a different shape and not always a circle. So we'll see what I end up doing with that one. And so that's all of the pieces of the pattern paper cut up. So I'm just going to again slide all of those into the individual envelopes that they're meant to go into. And then I'm going to go and get the templates, the guides out for how each of the cards is meant to look. I don't know why I paused halfway through that one. That didn't make any sense. So she gives us sketches for each of the cards. You don't have to follow them. Of course you don't. Don't have to do any of this. This is for fun. I find it a really good way of just using up pattern paper and just challenging me to come up with some different card designs. In terms of I wouldn't necessarily do any of these ones that have got triangles and stuff like that. It's just not my go-to. So it just gives me something different to do. Now, for the sketches, she does give them, they're all for American sized cards. So I usually end up putting mine onto 5x7 card blanks. I tend to make them as card toppers and then just add them to the card blanks in the end. She does give you the measurements for any mats and layers that she's done. Again, up to you whether you want to go with all of those. I pretty much did for most of this. And the only card I've not done is that one that you can see there with the circles. That one I've not done any prep on at all. I've literally put the 2 circles that are the pattern paper in the envelope. I haven't bothered to do any of the others. So you can see here, the pattern papers that I've used are a mix of old stash. They're not from the same collection, but when you get packs of pattern papers that go together, this is a perfect thing to do. Now, as it is, I'd got some pattern papers that weren't from the same sets at all, but they sort of work together, especially in these sort of small environments where you're just cutting up tiny little pieces. As long as the colours coordinate, they pretty much work together. So you can see here I have chosen again some cardstocks. I've not got huge amounts of my Stampin' Up cardstock left. It's frustrating when I'm working with Stampin' Up products and these are Stampin' Up. Apart from one of the papers, they are Stampin' Up papers, and it's knowing that I know that their cardstock would have worked and would have coordinated perfectly is slightly frustrating when you don't have it. Yeah, this is a weird one of the designs because I ended up with an extra strip and I'm not quite sure why. Hey ho. But yeah, so I am using cardstock, some of which are Stampin' Up, some of which are Kingston Crafts, some of which are cheap from probably Amazon or Hobbycraft or something. And I end up mixing in some brown sort of craft kind of one. It's not the crumb cake that's on the pattern paper. It's more of it's more of a true craft kind of colour, which is that brown. I have mixed in some mossy meadow, some old olive. The red, I'm not quite sure where that's from. In fact, none of these are Kingston's Crafts cardstocks. I've just realised none of them are. None of them are the white core. But I've used some red, but that was cheap red. I've used some black, that was cheap black. And I've used some white cardstock that's actually quite a sturdy cardstock that I bought. I think it's Crafter's Companion. It's a good quality for stamping onto. So I've just mixed in some different colours of cardstock. I will probably use embossing folders on some of the elements where they're sort of like more white space. I'll probably emboss on it. Might even get my foiling out and do some foiling art. I don't know at this stage because I've literally stopped the video to do this voiceover and save part 1 of the video before I then start making up any cards. I love that design. That's not something I would normally have chosen to do. Sorry, just paused when I realised what I was looking at. This, there's what, another 4 minutes, 5 minutes of this video. you're pretty much just going to be watching me assemble these cards. What I will probably do, because I've got a big stash on my table now of the leftover pieces of cardstock, is I will probably do some of the dies, cutting and the sentiment stamping, and then put them into a little pouch that then will go with the rest of the cards. I might not do that today, if I'm honest. I'm probably going to just make up a couple of the stocking cards for today's Christmas in July that'll follow this video out. I'll probably do that first, and then I might just, if I've got enough time, do the rest of the things. And then I'll probably put this aside. Might not touch it again in Christmas in July. I'm not sure. I've not got a plan specifically that I will or I won't. It might be that one of the themes that's coming up, I might go, well, do you know what? I think those papers and those colours will work with it. This is another one of those cards that designs that I'm like, oh my word, this actually was really easy to put together. I'd never have thought about doing that. So this is why I love Kendra's card challenges, because sometimes they're a bit hit and miss and I'm not so bothered about the design and I probably won't try and repeat it. But some of them are like, oh wow, I'd never worked out how to cut that from pattern paper and put that together myself. So, you know, this is the reason I love them. I don't always join in, and there is a Facebook group. I do go on the Facebook group. I usually post my designs on there. I think she does like prize draws and stuff like that. Not really bothered about that element of it. It's not for me. Being bothered about those sorts of things, but it's really good to see how people totally and utterly change. It changes depending on the papers that you use. I think that's, you know, obviously the colours that she's chosen for doing the template are all really bright and in your face and that, so it's really obvious to see which paper you're meant to be doing. But she's also chosen like daisy elements. You can see there, flower elements. Clearly, I'm not going to be doing that because I'm using mine for Christmas cards. So yeah, it's always really fun to see what everybody else has made with them. Kendra herself does have a YouTube channel and she usually puts something on. So there's probably better videos out there than this, showing you how to put them together or showing you how to do the cutting. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you what I was doing. I have done previous videos doing these. I know I've done one for my magazine, Use Up a Magazine kit series, which I split over 2 videos of the making. So this again is going to be split over 2 videos, but I'm only going to make up a couple of other cards. I might have done other videos in the past, I can't remember, but I have certainly on my blog, I have definitely used her templates before to do Christmas cards in the past, and say I just don't know if I've actually done any on video or not. This one was an interesting one, I think. This has got some directional type stuff with that first pattern paper that I cut into. It does feel like that it should be a particular angle. And on this one, I wasn't entirely sure that I liked the 2 papers together. So we'll see what happens when I actually come to use it. But yeah, I find some of them, I just go, oh, no. Even though I thought the papers went together at the beginning, now I don't think that they go together. I always find these ones that she uses like little strips that are from your leftovers. I think they're always really clever to be able to use those. We all know I love to use my scraps. And we are coming to the end. I'm about to do the final one, which is another one of those slightly more intricate designs that I would never have come up with myself, and turned out to be really simple. So I'm going to sort of start wrapping up now, because obviously I've not actually got a final card to show you. Please do give me a like if you like this, and let me know, do you do these sorts of things with pattern papers as well, or not? You know, I'd love to know. Please do subscribe if you want to see more, and please hold fire because another video will be coming soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.